Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Mrs. Margaret Kisitu Nakato, co-CEO for Afros and more, the Chas Fusion Limited. Once again, I welcome you, URA, to our space. You're very welcome. I would just like to share a little bit of my experience with the psychology of URA. I think the first time URA visited us, it was, I believe, in 2018, and we were starting the road to compliance. But then before, we started from a place of passion, and I just want to let you know that most of us begin our businesses from a place of passion, you know. So I think tax is the last thing you want to know. And of course, there's a lot of terror around tax. And so I think a team comes from URA on compliance. And to tell you the truth, we were scattered, we were scared, there was horror. I think we got calls left, right, and center about what was going to happen to us. Because I think a couple of people knew us, because URA people actually, most of them were our customers. So, you know, they let us know that actually we don't have time. And that time was the hardest. But after that, the team that took us to compliance, we started forging a relationship with them. And along the years, some of them have been very helpful. I'd like to remember Nalongo Businje. I think she was the lead for our compliance journey. She was the lead investigator for our compliance journey. She has been very helpful. We had to establish a relationship with URA, and then along the way, she started explaining. And then I'd also not forget Madame Juba Juliet. I think at a point when I didn't know whether we had to pay for our commission workers, what was the difference between payee, withholding tax, and then she had to, take us through and explain to us. We have moved in that state for some time until I visited Boulevard. This is where the game changed for me. When I walked in, it's such a huge place. I was so confused. I didn't know who to see. And a lady comes in. I didn't get her name, unfortunately. But she remembered herself. God bless her soul. She came in. She asked me, whom have you come to see? What do you need us to help you with? I was surprised. Okay. Because I didn't have to. I did not see it, actually. She just walked to me. And then she took me to the reception place. Agnes worked on me. I remember Agnes. Agnes was so kind because I had not filled my form so well. Agnes was extremely kind. I told my neighbor, have you noticed something different? You guys are warm. This is a bit new. And so Agnes told me, no, but this is how we should be. And so she served me so well. Some of us actually don't even know how to get into those spaces, like the portals. We don't know so much. We see the portals, but somehow you think it's still also a ball game. And then the IFRIS, I think that was Olivia from IFRIS, she reached out to me. She said, I've been looking at your ledger. I think there's something that we must work out. I was coming to your office, but now that since you're here, please come to my desk and we go through your ledger. I went and she opened my ledger, and of course we had some returns that had not been done well, and also some returns that had not been paid. But then we had this backlog. And so I told her, how do we manage this? This was 30th of June. I said, I cannot pay all this money, but how do we manage this? But she told me that your ledger was moving so well, but I think the last month, your ledger kind of got disorganized, but we can put it right. And I remember I told her, I don't know so much about all this, the details in taxation, and I need a lot of help because our accountant has absconded. And so she said, worry not, you can even bring your staff and we train them. And I'm like, really? Like, we have to pay people to train us to understand URA. And so, and she did not, ask for any money. She don't ask like, what, I can help you here and maybe I can send somebody. No. They did not talk anything about any extra pay. So I found another team. I think I met Doreen. She took me through managing the payments. She was still kind. Everything I was like, it was a fresh breath of air. I think she was expecting also. I remember she was expecting Doreen. So she took me through and, we kind of agreed and we decided also to pay a little bit of some backlog, which we cleared. And I think she was also willing to go in and do my PRN. I think my PRN, she was also willing to go that extra mile and kind of like exact it for me. And then we went through that. A couple of days later, Innocent and Seth gave me a call. I still around my ledger, and so they were explaining to me. I was asking them questions, and they were telling me, worry not, we are going to help you with this. When actually I really needed a lot of help, URA was there for me. And that was a time I thought I was going to get into trouble. And they were there to help me when my business needed a lot of help under a certain angle of confusion. And I think for me that touched my heart so much. Okay? But then, one thing I cannot forget is God. God has taught me tax. If I did not tax, because there's a time I was so angry within me. I believe most Ugandans get angry, with tax and taxation. I remember this day I told God, I need to talk to you. I really had a conversation and I said, but we pay taxes and there's a lot of corruption. You hear there's corruption. Everybody wants something. I mean, what do you do in such a circumstance? But that night I was told that no matter the corruption, I still remain righteous. And so I need you to comply 100% to your tax. When I woke up, I was like, oh my God, why did I ask? But it was so liberating to me. And I had never known anything about tax until when they tell us Caesar, pay Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. But this time, God now opened Romans 13 for me. Romans 13 talks about authority, governance, and that governance belongs to Him, and whoever does not comply to governance is under judgment. Whoever steals tax is under judgment. Whoever is stewarding tax and is compromising it is under judgment. Actually, this time I think he said you're not under curse, but he said you're under judgment. So I started learning tax. I started embracing tax. We have become 100% compliant. But in most cases where we don't understand, now we know that we can walk into the doors of URA and we shall be helped without any intimidation. And I said, I thank you, Lord, because when we do the right thing, then help comes our way. I think one thing that I have learned after God teaching me tax and tax compliancy, I came to realize that indeed government belongs to God, as He says in Romans 13. Taxes belong to God, and I believe He's very interested to uplift our economy if we can all be compliant. But of course, relationship, I guess, what I'm talking about is paramount. And I believe then our motto for God and my country will indeed come to play and come to manifest. Thank you so much.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.